I ended up getting an Audio-Technica machine that is the LP120UBT-USB, I think it's called. I don't know the exact model number off the top of my head, but it's apparently a new model for this year, 2021, and it's based on their classic LP120 model that they've had for years, which itself, from my understanding, is based on I believe it's a Technics SL1200, which is more of a DJ style turntable. It's a direct drive rather than a belt drive machine. And I wasn't even really thinking about buying this turntable. This wasn't even one that was on my radar. In fact, recently I've been looking around at turntables, and I've been looking at the U-Turn Audio, and they start at $199 right now. I guess they were a little cheaper earlier, like $180, like earlier this year or last year or something. But they're $199 now, which is still fairly cheap. But that's the starting price, and you can customize them yourself, and that's pretty cool. The problem is when you start customizing them, they can easily jump to $400, $500 even, or more. The plinth, which is the base of the unit, is pretty cool. You can change, like, it's normally MDF, and you can get different colors: blue, black, green, red, purple, white. So it's difficult for me to say, oh, I'm going to spend that kind of money on that kind of turntable, as much as I'd like one and as fancy as it kind of is. But that's the way I was leaning, and I've been heavily teeter-tottering on it for the last week, thinking to myself, should I do it, shouldn't I do it, whatever. But I was in Best Buy with my girlfriend yesterday. We were walking around looking for a printer for her, and we walked over to the vinyl section. We're looking through there, and I noticed that they had this Audio-Technica, and I know Audio-Technicas have good reviews. And I've seen this type of machine before, the LP120 style before, and in fact this was originally the kind of turntable I wanted sometime back in 2014. This was kind of what I had been looking for, and wanted that style. I liked that style, but since then my tastes have muted, and I've gone toward a more simple style rather than a DJ style turntable with all the bells and whistles on it. Still, this was $300, and it came with all the bells and whistles. You know, a lot of things that the U-Turn doesn't have, that would have needed to be upgrades on that machine. It does have, you know, things like Bluetooth. It does have things like pitch control and the ability to play 78s, which is not something I'm ever going to use, and I don't think pitch control is ever either. But it has like the anti-skating control built in, and it has the ability to change the head cartridge as well, which I really like. It also has the curved tone arm, which I really like, which the U-Turn didn't have. So there's a lot of things about it that I like. And so we sort of just kind of on a whim pulled the trigger on it. We can bring it home, we can live with it for a couple weeks, and if we ultimately decide, no, this is too much money for what's just kind of a novelty format for us, we can return it if we don't like it. But if we love it, we'll just keep it.
His temper surged and light breathed the shattering sea, closing my eyes.
So that's ultimately what we decided to do. And I'll be honest, the Bluetooth might be the killer feature here. The Bluetooth might be the thing that really sells me on this more than anything. I hadn't been looking for Bluetooth on a turntable at all. In fact, I had discounted the feature completely, thinking to myself, well, if you're going to buy vinyl and you're going to listen to vinyl, listen to it through an entire, you know, analog pipeline. That would be the natural way to do it. I mean, you're buying it as a completely analog format. Listen to it through your, you know, stereo system and stuff through, you know, an entire analog pipeline. Don't turn it into a lossy, compressed AAC file that gets sent to your Bluetooth headphones. That doesn't seem like that would make a lot of sense. But then I have to consider that I'm a night owl. I tend to stay up late. my girlfriend goes to sleep early, or earlier than me at least, and sometimes at night I want to listen to a record. I want to throw it on. So rather than having to string up a long cable across the living room to plug my headphones in, I can just Bluetooth my Bose right into the turntable and listen to the record that way. And then I started thinking about it more, and I was like, again, I don't approach vinyl from like it's a superior sound quality format. I approach it from a format perspective of all the physicality and the artwork and everything like that, the novelty aspect of that. And the fact that the sound does have a certain character, well, that's still conveyed even over Bluetooth. So I don't think I'm really losing anything listening to this over Bluetooth. And that may end up actually being the killer feature that I use way more often than, I may even end up using that aspect of it way more than pumping it through my stereo system. Because there's a lot of times I might want to put on a record and listen to it that my girlfriend in the other room doesn't want to hear it. But because of, me cranking the stereo up and stuff, she's going to have to end up listening to it as well. So the Bluetooth may really be the killer feature that sells me on this turntable more than anything else. In fact, it's looking that way. And it's funny because I never even considered that as a feature that I wanted in a turntable. And then you add the fact that there's direct drive, which is nice because it means that you never have to deal with a belt or belt slipping, or the situation that happened with my Sony where something happened with the belt, and for a year and a half I didn't even mess with it or consider. I thought it was broken. I just thought, well, it's broke or whatever. Maybe I'll look at it in the future. Who knows? And I did, but it was a year and a half later. So I missed out on using it for a year and a half. Whereas with this, it's direct drive, so that's not going to happen. And then the ability to control things like the anti-skating and the weight on the back of the tone arm, as well as the ability to change out the cartridge, the head shell, all of that. These are all really nice features that I think I might actually get some use out of. But yeah, this is difficult for me though, because it's still $300, and $300 is a lot more than I wanted to spend on a turntable altogether, on what I consider to be sort of a novel hobby at this point in time. But I guess I have to keep telling myself, well, Mike, you're already invested in this. You really are. I mean, you're already a couple $100 into vinyl records at this point in time, and it's not like you're going to ever get rid of those, because that's just not your personality. And half of them were gifts anyway, so that would just be rude. So you've got these vinyl records, plus you've got this collection of old vinyl that you inherited from your parents. Who cares? Spend the money. Spend the $300. It's a lot of money right now, but just like the iPad, a year from now, the money will be long gone, and you won't even think about the money anymore, but you'll have this really nice turntable sitting on your entertainment console that you can use to play, records for the next however many years, or hopefully even decades. I just have to wrap that logic around my sort of cheapskate head here and say, yeah, you can do that. Don't feel bad about that. That's perfectly okay. Don't feel like you spent your money on something that's not worth it. It's worth it. Even if it's only worth it for a short period of time, or here every once in a while here and there, it's fine. It's worth it. Thank you, I guess, for watching. Thanks for listening. And I don't know if you got anything out of it, but hey, here it is. All right, until next time, see you later.